Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Welcome to my Thursday night stream. And today we're going to be talking about the Justice League, the best superhero team. I know what you're thinking. Isn't the Avengers the best superhero team? I guess it depends on who you ask. I've always been a fan of the Justice League. So, one thing I want to address. I didn't stream Tuesday this week. Didn't do that video. Just didn't feel it. But I'm going to keep trying to do Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. So if you want to join in on these streams live, I usually stream around 5 o'clock on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. All right. So the first thing I want to do is show some of my key comics that I have for the Justice League. I have more than what I'm going to show in this video, but I haven't done content on those yet. I have like 2 boxes of comics that I have yet to show on the channel, and I'm kind of keeping those for when I do shorts and stuff, and then they'll be involved in these streams and stuff. But this is all this is all the Justice League content these are all the Justice League comics that I've already made videos about, but I'm going to show them again here. So I've got some really cool stuff here. And then I brought out a bunch of Justice League omnibuses. There's some really amazing runs here, and I have some great recommendations if you want to start reading Justice League, like where you should start throughout the eras, which omnibuses you should get, or which trades and stuff like that. And then we may just look at some of the comics that came out this week if we have enough time. But yeah, let's start off with showing off some of these books. So this is my... of these books, I have them in oops, sorry, this is getting a little shake there. This is the oldest of the Justice League books we're going to look at. It goes newer and newer as we go down in this pile. So I'm going to kind of do that with the omnibuses and with the comic book and with these issues. What I love about this issue in particular is that it's the first appearance of the Shaggy Man. Okay. Now, if you don't know who the Shaggy Man is, it is basically a powerful but mindless beast. I think it's some kind of like plastic or something is part of what makes it what it is, and it's covered in hair. And it is so powerful, the Shaggy Man, that they can't. It's like kind of like stopping the Juggernaut in a way, where it's like the Justice League, like their only course of action when the Shaggy Man shows up is to like throw him out into outer space or something, or bury him in the desert or something like that, because he regenerates. So there's like no way to kill him. Actually, where did I grab? Oh yeah. In this really awesome omnibus by Grant Morrison, this Justice League of America omnibus, the Shaggy Man makes an appearance. It's pretty cool. A general basically steals the Shaggy Man's body, because it's like indestructible and goes to war with the Justice League, and it's really cool. He shaves the whole the Shaggy Man body, so it just looks like it's like, I don't know, got trimmed hair all over its body. It's weird. Grant Morrison, he comes up with really cool stuff, and I love the fact that he chose to bring back this character for a modern run. So this is one of the omnibuses we're going to be talking about in a little bit. I can't recommend this anymore. This is such a good... has one of my favorite moments with Superman and Batman and stuff is in this omnibus. I have the Funko Pops that were modeled after this, after the characters in this Grant Morrison run as well, which I really like. Anyway, going back to the comics. This guy's from 1966, so that's the Silver Age. I don't have much Silver Age Justice League, but this issue is pretty cool. All right, now we've got Justice League 46 from 1966, so also the Silver Age. And, oh, by the way, that last book is like an $80 book. This one's like a $150 book in high grade. Mine isn't necessarily high grade, but it's it's all right. This is the first appearance of the Sandman, Wesley Dodds, in the Silver Age, which is so cool. I'm a big fan of the Sandman. This is the first appearance of Antimatter Man, who's basically an entity of extreme power from Qward. And I believe Qward is the antimatter universe, I think, where the Anti-Monitor comes from. and it's a classic story of a crisis between Earth 1 and Earth 2. So remember, this is pre-Crisis on Infinite Earths, so that means that DC is still kind of split up throughout different Earths and stuff like that. Everything gets consolidated at Crisis on Infinite Earths, but at this point, that's not the case. So this is a really cool book. I really love the cover. You got Black Cat there, and I think Grundy and Blockbuster. Really cool book from the Silver Age. I love the purple covers on these two. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Oh, here's a cool one. This is Justice League 56. So this is a classic battle of the JLA and the JSA, which, you know, I love it when comics do gimmicks. You know, when the Thing fights the Hulk, or Wolverine fights the Hulk, or basically anyone fights the Hulk. But or they do team battles. I'm all for it, you know. And this one is from 1967, so we're still talking about the Silver Age. And this one goes for like 110 in high grade. But we have Hourman. I'm not a big fan of Hourman's power, to be honest with you. It's so limited. So he takes a Miraclo pill, and he gains super strength and speed and stuff for 1 hour. And if he doesn't time it right, he's kind of useless. So not my favorite concept for a character. And this, I totally put my money on this side, by the way, going up against these guys. But yeah, this is a cool issue again with the purple. I really like. Oh, one of my favorites in this stack is Justice League 64, Justice League of America 64 from 1968. Okay, this is the first appearance of Red Tornado, and it was previously the Tornado Tyrant, and it's now inhabiting an android's body, and it's programmed with the memories of some, I don't know. It's complicated. His history is complicated. I believe it also ties in with Adam Strange. I think that's where the Tornado Tyrant is originally from, Adam Strange's world. Oh, coffee. Long day at work. So I needed that cup of coffee. But this one's got Hourman on top of it. This one's got Ted Knight's Starman on it. Looks like Black Canary, Dr. Fate, Jay Garrick, Flash. It's the Justice Society. This is one of my favorite books, though, in this stack, and I really love this cover. Oh, and you know, a big reason for that, and this is something I want to get into. Dick Dillon, I think, is a really good artist, and I just don't know why. You know, I guess I can look at most artists and say, like, you know, I can look at Neil Adams' work and I know why he was popular, and I know that Neil Adams was someone who's a little bit ahead of his time when he started to draw like the anatomy and stuff the way he did, and he brought more realism to the comics and stuff like that. So that's one example. But there are some artists that I look at and I'm like, why aren't they more well known? You know, like I think Dick Dillon is a really good example of that. He was a, you know, comic book artist in the Silver Age and in largely in the Bronze Age, and he did Justice League for like the entire Bronze Age almost. I think the whole thing, or almost the whole thing. And I love his art. Actually, I have a later issue in here with here. Yeah, look, Dick Dillon did this one too with Wonder Woman punching Superman, which I think is great. So yeah, I've become a fan of Dick Dillon's art, and I feel like he should get. I feel like more people should be a fan of his art. It's really good. It's I don't know, maybe it's not mind blowing, but it's really solid, and I think he has some really great covers and stuff, and the way he draws his panels is really good. So yeah, it's clean. I like it. Anyway, first Red Tornado. All right, this one here is second appearance of Starro the Conqueror. So the first appearance would be in the Silver Age. In this omnibus here, and there he is, Starro. I have a really cool Starro cover coming up in here, but yeah, that's that one. So that's pretty cool. Okay, this book, I think this is pretty cool because this is the first Watchtower, the Justice League satellite. They don't call it the Watchtower yet. It's just the Justice League satellite orbiting at 22,300 miles above the surface. They remind you of that every time they go in to look into, you know, in on something that's happening in the satellite. I have that number memorized because I've been reading my Bronze Age Justice League books. So yeah, 22,300 miles above the surface of the Earth, the Justice League. Now, it doesn't make any sense what's going on here because you wouldn't have, unless it's in geosynchronous orbit, you wouldn't have a tube that could take you up to the watchtower, to the satellite, but whatever, they get up there somehow. Let's call it teleportation. But anyway, this is the first time you ever have the Justice League satellite, which I think is such a cool concept. And this was from when was this? 1970. So yeah, I guess when was like the space race? Was that like 64? Was that when we went to the moon? I can't remember. But yeah, this is cool. It's cool to see the first ever appearance, and this is a pretty cool cover. So, all right, moving on. What is this here? We have Justice League 103 from 1972. So now we are in the Bronze Age. And, the Phantom Stranger joins the JLA. Now, spoiler, he doesn't. They have a vote on it, and they vote him in. But as we all know about the Phantom Stranger, he, has his own agenda and does his own things and appears when he's needed. He's basically a plot device because he's so powerful and he's so, that's part of his character, right? Is that he's mysterious. That's the whole draw in the Phantom Stranger, is he's mysterious. So cool issue. I actually reread this one recently in my Justice League Bronze Age omnibus. So really cool. I love Adam Strange. I'm a big Adam Strange fan, and Adam Strange has one of the better Silver Age runs for DC. He had Carmine Infantino drawing and Gardner Fox doing the art. Doing the writing. And Gardner Fox uses a lot of sci-fi concepts in that mystery and space run. So I've always been a fan of Adam Strange, and it's just cool to have a big, Adam Strange presence on a Justice League cover. So, and this is the first appearance of the Green Lantern from the 73rd century. All right, here we go. Here's that Dick Dillon book that I think is really cool. Basically, this one is just that it's Wonder Woman punching Superman, which is great. And I forget the context of this. I have read this book, but this is a key for some. Hold on, let me see. Why is this a key? First appearance of Mark Shaw as the Privateer, previously appeared as Manhunter. So, I guess Manhunter would have been one of the Manhunters from because not the Manhunters from the Guardians of Oa. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with the key here. I'll be honest with you. This is just really cool Dick Dillon art, and the cover is awesome with Wonder Woman punching out Superman. But I gotta hand it to Superman if they go for toe to toe for real, because he's more powerful. Oh yeah, and okay, this is a Brian Boland cover. And this is one of the cooler covers in this stack of Justice League comic books that we're looking at. And it's got Starro, which is really cool. And I have read this issue as well. And this is basically a key just for this cover. Really cool. This is a anniversary issue of Justice League where George Perez. It's a wraparound cover, and it's a kind of quite thick issue, and it's George Perez. I just love George Perez art, and he does. Yeah, he did a lot of DC actually. So I'm not sure how long he was on the book after this issue, but this is a really cool cover by him, and like I said, it's a milestone issue. Oh, and then I just accidentally grabbed this JSA this JSA comic as well. I like the comics that are also the covers of my omnibuses, and this is the cover of one of my JSA omnibuses, so that's why I like that. All right, so that is the stack of comics. Oops, gotta be careful here. Those are pretty cool, but I want to talk about the Justice League, and if you're trying to get into Justice League, where to start. Now, I'm going to briefly go over some of the stuff that's a little older. All right, so we've got this. This is the beginning of everything for the Justice League, right? This is the Silver Age. Is this in the late 50s or early 60s? I don't quite remember when the first issue came out. Like I said, I'm gonna go really quickly on here. Gardner Fox, great Silver Age writer, and we're just gonna take a quick look at probably just the very first issue here. So this is it, right? This is first time the team comes together and they're fighting Starro. Notice you don't see Superman or Batman on this cover. And here you go. This is Justice League Silver Age. But here we have Superman and Batman. Now I have not read this material. I'll be honest. I started my Justice League reading on the Bronze Age and some of the modern stuff. But I do know a lot about what's in this book. I just haven't sat down and read these issues. I do think this is a really cool book to have. There's a lot of history here, and this is important to superheroes in general. Not just to DC, but all around. I think the first superhero team was the Fantastic Four, or no, was it the Justice League? And then the Fantastic Four was kind of Marvel's answer to that. I can't remember who came first. Oh, I'm not even showing. I'm sorry, I'm not showing the right. I'll just go back through it again real quick. I'm not showing the right angle there. Here you go. So kind of wacky stuff for the Silver Age. There's the Flash. This is Barry Allen Flash at this point. Remember, this is before Crisis on Infinite Earths. There's the Wonder Woman and her invisible plane. It's pretty cool. Classic stuff, important stuff in this book. It's especially as you see, the Silver Age is it's kind of wacky is the way I describe it. And if you're trying to get into reading Justice League and you're a newer comic book reader, I don't recommend you start there, because comics get better as the eras go on. So here is the Bronze Age. Let's remember to change my camera this time. This stuff is great, and this is all Dick Dillon art, right? And this, as you can see, the art is a lot better now. Here, let's zoom in a little bit. The art is better. The storytelling is a little better. Now, I always say this. I think, there's Red Tornado. I think that the Bronze Age was better for Marvel than it was for DC. Don't get me wrong. There's some great material in the Bronze Age for DC, but a lot of people don't care about it as much because a lot of the characters and stuff and the stories and things like that get kind of undone by Crisis on Infinite Earths. And a lot of people just like DC after Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I don't blame them. But there's still a lot of really important and really cool stuff that happened in the Bronze Age for the Justice League, for Batman, for Superman, and so on. This is great. Adam Strange being in this issue. Oh, this is one of the issues I just showed, actually, probably. Let's see if I have the cover here. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, you know what? I got to hunt this issue down and get this. That's cool with Adam Strange on the cover. And I'm reading the first Justice League Omnibus right now, and I'm very much enjoying it. It's a little wordy, and you have to understand you're reading a Bronze Age comic. And again, the Bronze Age Justice League doesn't stand up to the Bronze Age X-Men, by Chris Claremont. Well, that was during the Bronze Age. I think Claremont's run started in like 74, 75. So, and this starts really at the beginning of the Bronze Age. So it's, it's got like 5 years on the X-Men, but still, not quite as good, but still good material. Anyway, that's the Bronze Age. And if you want to get into Justice League reading, again, I don't think you start there. Most people aren't gonna, if you're like me and you like the old comics, then this is a good place to start. And there's 3 Bronze Age Justice League books that are great, in my opinion, and are full of really good art all the way through, which I really love. And the writing's pretty good. The first book does have one author, I forget what his name is, not Len Wein and not Gardner Fox. There's another author that does a lot of like, we're killing the planet, global warming stuff. He makes every issue about that, and those issues I don't like as much. And he's not in. I don't think he's in here as much in the second volume. So that I didn't like as much. Don't get me wrong. I think we should, be treating our planet well and all that. But it's just that every time that writer was on one of the comics, he made it about that, and it was just like a little bit too much. Yeah, Bronze Age. Okay, so now we're talking Crisis on. There's a little bit in between the third Bronze Age one, and Crisis on Infinite Earths, but Crisis on Infinite Earths happened. I should have brought that out whenever I talk about DC. I always forget to bring that out, but I have an oversized deluxe hardcover. of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think it's a great way to read it. And then you have there's another omnibus I think that has some of the material, but there's basically a little bit of a gap. But then you get like this is like 80s Justice League, right? Early 80s, and this is the second volume. But Justice League International is awesome. This is where I recommend you start if you're wanting to get into Justice League and you're okay with having, you're okay with not starting with like all like the modern stuff, but you're okay with like kind of classic stuff. This is a great place to start. There's humor in this run, which is really good. I really love that the authors, the author again. It's who do we have here? Oh yeah, it's Griffin and DeMatteis, right? The art and the writing is great in here. What's really cool is that you get all these omnibuses display like a bunch of superheroes, and that's because you really have a huge team, because there's like Justice League and Justice League of America and Justice League Europe, Justice League International. It's all of these characters are involved, and you don't have like Superman. You have Wonder Woman sometimes, you have Batman sometimes, but no Superman, and it really lets other characters shine. I have talked about these omnis in the past as well. I love that you get Big Barda in here. Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. This is when they become friends, right in here. This is like when they're in their prime and they get into hijinks, and it's hilarious and it's awesome. Oh yeah, the Gray Man's in here. You got Power Girl. You get so many characters that DC doesn't do enough with. Even the Elongated Man. You got the Spectre in here, which is great. You got Dr. Fate as a woman, because a different person is taking up the mantle of Dr. Fate at this time. Martian Manhunter. So, but there's an issue in here where Blue Beetle and Booster Gold basically decide that Guy Gardner. I freaking hate Guy Gardner. They decide they're gonna open a resort like on this island, and things do not go well for them at all. And remember, this is post-crisis, so this is Wally West Flash. As we all know, Barry Allen does not fare too well in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Here we go. So look at this cover. Actually, I think I have this cover. Yeah, I do. It's in my Justice League issues that I didn't show yet. But this is a really, really cool. This is a cool cover, and it's obviously there's a girl in the middle in a bikini, but it's really funny because they open this resort on this island, and there's some villains kind of make off with the money, and they're just like lounging on the beach, and then it doesn't go well for them, and they lose like all the Justice League's money, and it's just hilarious, and it's like a moving island. It's crazy. But even though this has some like funny, like kind of like back, I don't know when my audio went out. I have an issue with my audio box. I think I maybe need to get a new one, but I noticed that I just noticed that my audio was out. So hopefully it wasn't out for too long. Anyway, what I was saying is there's a really great moment in here where an enemy really underestimates Batman, and they, not knowing, and Superman basically says, you have no idea who you're dealing with. Like, Batman's like the most dangerous man on the planet, basically. And it's just a really cool moment that Grant Morrison makes in this run. This is the 90s. This started in, like I said, I just looked it up, 96, according to our Key Comics collector. All right. And great art in here. Grant Morrison, I'm a Grant Morrison fan. I'm an optimist when it comes to comics, so you're going to hear me say a lot of things. Oh, here's Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, which is pretty cool. So it's not often that I come out and I'm like, oh, I really don't like this artist. I really don't like this. I really don't like that. I enjoy comics from every era, and I can appreciate a lot of different types of art and stuff. And some people aren't the biggest Grant Morrison fans because his stories, and I will agree with this, can get a little convoluted sometimes. But I think in essence, they're really good, and he has some really clever ideas, and there's some really good enemies in here, and it's just epic. The art in this at this time of comics gets really good. I think I've always been a big fan of 90s comic book art. That's another thing that some people don't like as much, but I've always liked it. You know, the exaggerated anatomy and stuff like that, and the pouches and this and the leather or whatever. And I think this whole run is really, really awesome, and I highly recommend. This is like, oh, and you had blue Superman this time, so this doesn't go into why he's blue, and he doesn't stay blue like this for super long, so I can't tell you why that is. Oh, this is a cool character, but he doesn't stay like that for long. There you go. You got Huntress on the team, which is pretty cool. Steel. It's such a great lineup for the Justice League. Plastic Man, Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, The Flash would be Wally West, Aquaman, Superman, Wonder Woman. I mean, this is a really great team, and the writer did an amazing job, Grant Morrison. So, absolutely love this run. That's a really good. So most people like. If I have to recommend Justice League reading, and I'm doing it to like an average comic reader, I might say like start with JLA by Grant Morrison, because it's a somewhat modern comic, has great art, well-rounded stories. It's really good. You know, a lot of people ask me like, because I have this huge omnibus collection, and a lot of people ask me like where to start reading certain characters, and so I'm trying to give like some idea to people that would have that question. You know, where to start on Justice League. And I do think that JLA by Grant Morrison is a great starting point, and it gets you right into Justice League, and it gets you into the modern comics. Okay, next, hold on a sec. Coffee. Oh, one more thing I want to mention. Something that's not included in that JLA omnibus is this right here. This is Tower of Babel. Who's the author? Mark Waid. Mark Waid, Howard Porter on the art. Howard Porter does a great job in the art. This happens during Grant Morrison's run, but Grant Morrison doesn't write it. Oh look, there's Adam Strange again, man. He's making a lot of appearances in this video. So why did I bring this out? Because this is a very famous Justice League story. This is a deluxe hardcover you can get. And basically this is the classic story, and they've done this in the animated series, and maybe they'll do it in live action one day, where Batman basically has contingency plans for every single person on the Justice League. And what happens is one of his enemies gets access to his files and uses those plans that Batman has just in case anything were to happen to a member of the Justice League. They get turned evil, they get mind controlled, whatever. The villain uses those contingency plans that Batman made against the Justice League. It's a really clever story. It's really cool. Great art, and this kind of completes the Grant Morrison era of, even though he didn't write this, but that 90s era of the Justice League. So this is a quick read and a good pickup for someone looking to read some really cool Justice League book. And like I said, they've done this in like the animated series and movies and stuff. So, of course, adapt it, so not exactly the same, but this is a really cool classic Justice League story. All right, now we're going to get into the last regular Justice League book that I brought out. Is this one, Justice League, the New 52. So this is really, of all the recommendations of where to start Justice League, this would be my top choice to get people into reading Justice League. It's Jim Lee. So Jim Lee just absolutely killing it. I always have loved this panel right here, like looking down the barrel of this gun. And I'm so excited because Jim Lee is coming back with Jeff Loeb to do another Hush run, Hush 2, or Hot to Ush, the way they made the logo. But look at Jim Lee's art. It's so good, even when he's not drawing Batman or Superman or something. And he does art in, like, I think most of this book. And who's the artist in here though? Not the artist. Sorry, who is the? Oh, it's Jeff Johns, of course, right? Oh, and this is another like kind of famous Jim Lee Batman. Yeah, and Jeff Johns. He didn't do great things for the movies, but he is maybe the best DC writer of all time. He wrote this run was amazing. He wrote the JSA run. He wrote amazing Teen Titans run. He wrote the best Green Lantern run ever. He wrote an amazing Aqua run. Every single run that Jeff Johns has done for DC has been amazing. So whatever you think of him outside comics, remember in comics, if you see Jeff Johns' name on a comic book, it's going to be good. And this is great. They did this in one of the Justice League movies too, where he's like, "Who the hell are you? You don't have powers or whatever." And Batman's like, "What's this?" And he has Green Lantern's ring. They took that straight off the panel and went into the animated series. So I thought that was pretty cool. Superman in here. This is like the New 52 was like a kind of like a hard reboot. This is great. So this is so good. There's a little bit of a tie-in with Justice League Dark comes in here, and I will say I did bring out the Justice League Dark omnibuses as well. We're gonna take a quick look at those. Dark Side. This is amazing. This is amazing Justice League content. Honestly, I remember some people not being a big fan of the new 52, and I think almost everyone looks back on it very fondly now because most of the New 52 runs, like most of the stuff to come out of the New 52 was really good. A large portion of my omnibuses are from the New 52, and it's hard to name like Batman by Scott Snyder and Jim Lee was amazing. Justice League by Jeff Johns and Jim Lee. Oh, sorry. Batman by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. Amazing. Jeff Johns and Jim Lee on Justice League was really good. Jeff Johns also on Aquaman. He did the New 52 Aquaman run, was really good. And then he was still writing Green Lantern. So again, we're talking about Jeff Johns again, but Green Lantern was really good coming out of the New 52. What else? I'm trying to remember some. Oh, Justice League Dark coming out of the New 52 was really great. Here, let me grab the Justice League Dark books. Okay, so I've read this. Amazing. I love Constantine. I'm sold when I see Constantine on the cover. And the rest of the team is really cool. Deadman and Zatanna, of course. Gotta have Zatanna. I freaking love Zatanna. And what's her name? Orchid. And I forget this guy's name. He's in it he's some of it. This whole run is really good. Got great art. It goes into the history of Constantine, which is really, really cool. I actually think that's one of the best things in this run. Because I guess they're kind of reestablishing some of the stuff for their characters. But you get an origin story really for Constantine, like how he first started to learn magic, and a big part of him learning magic was a mentor that he used to have, and that mentor is a big part of this run. It gets crazy at the end of this. This was so amazing. I have the other Justice League Dark omnibus that I haven't read yet, but if it's anything like this, then it's going to be really good. I will say this. I know Omar from Near Mint Condition, who I love, did say that he likes Constantine from the Hellblazer series more than from this Justice League run, and I will agree with him on that. I think he's more like a typical, in that Hellblazer run by Garth Ennis specifically, that is more like, that's almost like reading a novel, and you're not fighting aliens and all like crazy stuff. Like this made him more of a regular comic book character, and I can see why Omar would say like the Hellblazer version of Constantine he likes better. But I really liked Constantine in this run, and he does his attitude the whole way through, but he's clever. He's always thinking one step ahead. He's really clever with his magic and stuff, and that's what makes him so powerful. Oh yeah, Frankenstein's in here. Swamp Thing. I mean, this is so good. Yeah, I really love this run. But like I said, at the end, it starts to get really crazy with what they're dealing with and the scale of what they're fighting against. And they're constantly getting lost in other dimensions and pocket like inside of like magical dimensions and stuff like that. And it's crazy. They spend so little time on the planet Earth in this because there's getting into all this crazy magic stuff in here. So that's really good. Now, like I said, I do have this. Now I haven't read this yet. I think Constantine is in this one too. Oh, and Detective Chimp is pretty cool. Is that Man-Bat? And then this is Zatanna and Wonder Woman and Swamp Thing. So I look at this. The spine on this one's still stiff. This is Justice League Dark from Rebirth, I believe. So I haven't read this. I do have high hopes for this because, like I said, I really loved the other run. And wow, the art in here looks good. It's a modern comic book run, and honestly, like most modern comics are pretty good. So wow, look at all this Swamp Thing stuff. So I'm just gonna give a quick flick through here. All right, but yeah, so that's Justice League for you. There is a Justice League by Scott Snyder omnibus that either just came out or is coming out soon. I might get that. I did read that. I read a large portion of that in the single issues when it was coming out. But I'm trying to think of what other. I'm trying to think if I'm missing any Justice League omnibuses. There really aren't that many compared to some other characters like X-Men and stuff like that. But I think I have every Justice League omnibus. Oh no, there's one I don't have, but it's one that everyone hates. So anyway, yeah, those are my recommendations for Justice League. All those books I just brought out are great. Silver Age and Bronze Age stuff may not be for everybody, but when you get into the 80s, Justice League International is really awesome. And if you like older comics, I would start there. If you want some, to start in the 90s, then you got to go for Grant Morrison's run. And then there's the Tower of Babel that goes along with that, which is a really classic Justice League story. And then it doesn't get much better than Jeff Johns and Jim Lee coming together to do an amazing Justice League run that has 2 volumes. So it's a really long run. Start anywhere in the New 52 if you want to get into comics, and you're gonna love it. You're gonna love all the stories and stuff in the comics there. And I have some more Justice League in my boxes that I haven't made videos about yet, so those are going to be coming up soon. And if you've found this video or the VOD, or if you watched live or anything like that, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, I appreciate a like and a subscribe. And